Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Just a quick thumbs up to see if I'm audible and if everybody can hear me. Or an engaging audience. I love to see it. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sam Gemkomi, and welcome to our Youth Month Civic Dialogue. And I will be the facilitator for this conversation. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your Friday afternoon with us, and a special welcome to everybody joining us here on Zoom as well as via Facebook Live. It means a lot that you want to be here for the next hour and a half, and to really engage with us in terms of youth engagement and democracy now that we are in a voting year. Now, for the next hour or hour 15, we will be deep in conversation, wanting to define what the role of young people is moving into the next chapter of our democracy. This week, we commemorated the 50th anniversary of the Soweto uprisings that took place on the 16th of June in 1976, but not only in Soweto, in other parts of the country as well. And with this commemoration, it comes on the backs of us being more than 30 years into our democracy, and it also being one of the biggest election years we are yet to see the local government elections happening this year. So we can agree that it's a very important time for South Africa as well as South Africans in this year. And with this question, we also note that a lot of young people are going to be heading to the polls for the very first time in their lives. But we have an issue that young people are heading to the polls without really knowing what their rights or responsibilities truly mean, and also not having a clear understanding of what their role in democracy is. And this is framed by the infamous question of, what will voting do for me? How do I benefit from it? And that shows a gap in civic engagement, and in civic engagement specifically, not being a priority in a lot of young people's formative years, more specifically between the ages of 14 to 18. Now, at Engage, we truly believe that a meaningful democratic participation really begins early. And this early is when young people are given opportunities to engage critically with their communities, but also to understand their rights and responsibilities, and also to develop the confidence to participate in civic life, which means being confident enough to go to the polls, understanding what you want as a young person, but also knowing how you fit in and what your role is in democracy. And this all brings us to the reason for today for this dialogue, which is essentially a space where we bring together youth leaders, civic actors, alumni, and institutional voices to reflect on the role of young people in shaping the next generation of democratic participation and active citizenship. Those are a lot of words, I know, but I cannot have this conversation alone. And we have together six amazing people that will come and break down and define what it is the role of young people is, but also what actionable items can we leave this dialogue with. And first up, we have Lesego Kobuwe from YMCA South Africa, who is the Partnerships, Communications, and Advocacy Lead at YMCA, as well as the Project Manager for the IY Futures Initiatives, with her work centering on youth empowerment, meaningful work, and systematic change for young people. Welcome, Lesego. We also have Thuto Hleza, who is one of our alumni here at My Voice from our 2019 cohort, and he serves as the Treasurer General for the Pan-African Students Forum, the Societies and Institutional Officer of the International Society of Politics, as well as the Legal and Constitutional Affairs Officer of the Wits SRC. Now, his work centers on education, policy, and social justice across the African continent. We then have Irfaan Mangera, who is the head of education from We the People SA, is an educator and an activist. Irfaan's work is based on constitutional literacy, civic engagement, democratic participation, and social justice, with a key passion in making social and political issues accessible. He empowers young people to participate in public life. We have Craig Bailie, the founding director of the Bailie Leadership Consultancy, where his work centers on supporting organizations to become more virtuous and effective in a rapidly changing world. With a background in leadership development, civil military relations, and human rights advocacy, Craig is a pioneer in leadership development and engagement. Lethiwe Mbongwa is an educator as well as the Gauteng lead multiplier at Teachers Can, where she supports teacher leadership, professional development, and community-driven educational initiatives. Being driven by a passion for educational leadership, learner development, and youth empowerment, Lethiwe's basis is centered on education, playing a critical role in shaping active citizens and confident leaders. Last but definitely not least, we have Buhlebethu Magwaza, the project lead at Youth Capital, who advocates for evidence-based and youth-centered solutions to youth unemployment in South Africa. Her work centers on youth employment, the transition from education to work, as well as economy inclusion and supporting access to meaningful opportunities for young people to participate fully in society. That is our panelist, six amazing people who continue to do amazing groundwork in youth development and also leadership. Thank you once again so much for joining us. And I think all of us, seeing by the reactions, we are very excited to get into the dialogue and into the gist of the day. But, in proper engaged style, we cannot start anything without starting with an opening energizer or what we like to call a check-in. And our check-in today is called Draw the Future. So for 5 minutes, for 1 minute, our guests will quickly draw or write on a piece of paper what does an ideal future for South Africa's constitutional democracy look like, with young people actively participating in it? I'll repeat it once again. For 1 minute, you can either choose to draw or write on a piece of paper, what does an ideal future for South Africa's constitutional democracy look like, with young people actively participating in it? So, we're going to give our guests a quick minute to scribble down, to show us some of their artistic talent, or maybe to write down in words what a civic engaged young democracy such as South Africa will look like, having young people active in it. And once we are ready, we will all then show and tell and see who's more artistic, but also see what your ideal South Africa looks like when young people are active in it. Let's give them a minute and then we'll check back in. Alrighty. I really wish I could give you much more time to finesse your artworks or your writings, but we are on a slightly strict time crunch. So, thumbs up from our guests if we are ready to go. Alrighty. Okay. Thumbs up from Lethiwe and Craig. Anyone else? Thumbs up from Thuto, Irfaan. Thumbs up from Lesego as well. Great stuff. Okay, I think let us start in alphabetical order. Buhle, would you mind going first and sharing what your ideal South Africa with active young people looks like?
I thought I was gonna go last because I was the last person to be introduced. Can everyone see my piece of paper?
Just maybe a bit higher, or you can just talk us through what it is, and then we'll see if we can drop a picture in the chats as we go on.
I'll share a picture. Um, but basically, my picture is really about our future, our voice, our South Africa. When I think about the future I want for South Africa, I really imagine a country where young people have a voice and they are active participants in shaping our democracy. And my image, is this the right side? Begins with remembering the past, honoring those who fought for our freedom and led with courage. Their struggles laid the foundation for our opportunities and the rights we have today. And then in the middle, it's really about young people participating and shaping um, the world, our current world, looking at our ideas, our experiences, and those translating to our vision for our future. And then at the end is it's about how we as young people, through our ideas and our experiences and our vision for the future, we then get to then shape the decisions, which then speaks to voting, holding leaders accountable. I have some of that down here, and helping to create policies and solutions, which is the heart of my work, solutions and policies and solutions that then make this world a better place for young people, because young people are not passive recipients of decisions or democracy, but we are active participants in it. I imagine a future where all young people can thrive and we can all have access to opportunities and participate in the economy and contribute meaningfully in our communities and our country. Thank you. I want to take a picture of this.
Thank you so much, Buhle. Thank you so much. Craig, you are up next.
Thank you, Samke, and thank you for your kind introduction earlier. I was surprised to learn that I'm an amazing person. I'm definitely not the best among us when it comes to art. Very simple. If those online can't see this, I'm happy to describe it. Simply four stick people. This is my depiction of a family. The family doesn't have to have four people, doesn't have to be a nuclear family. But instead of answering the question comprehensively, what does the ideal future constitutional democracy in South Africa look like? My answer is, well, how do we begin to shape it? Where does that ideal constitutional democracy begin? And for me, key to that answer or key to that process is the family as an institution. This is the first institution of education, whether it's formal or informal. And I think parents have a vital role to play as the first, if I could perhaps call them respondents, in shaping their children, in shaping the country's future Democrats. And I use that term outside of the American context. So yes, I think for me, family vitally important there.
Thank you so much, Craig. Irfaan. I did say alphabetical order.
Yes, yes, yes. Hi, everyone, and thanks for the intro. And so good to have you facilitate Samke for reasons we know. But to everyone else, this is my, I don't know if you can see it, my young drawing. It has words like some of you as well. It's a city outline and with the word thriving underneath it, to the point that Buhle makes that, one is a thriving economy where people are able to work meaningful jobs, but also live a decent life. And that's where the bottom part comes in, is somewhat of a river and trees. And each of these trees have words around justice, peace, healthy, fair, joyful, equitable. And there's also like people in there somewhere, um, to the point that when we live this constitution, we create the kind of society that it envisions, because it is an aspirational document, and so to answer that is to live it, in the context where we want a prosperous and united South Africa that is safe for everyone. Yeah, let me leave it there because for the sake of time, but that's my picture.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Irfaan. Lesego, if you can hear us, you will go next. I think let's give her a minute. Okay, I think while Lesego sorts or figures out her connection, Lethiwe, you can go next.
Okay, greetings everybody and our amazing facilitator, Samli. Hi. I don't think you guys are going to see my drawing. But yeah, I'm just going to explain what's happening here. So I have sunlight because I'm a dreamer and I'm just dreaming of a future that is so bright. And that is what I'm hoping, for South Africa and looking forward to. I also drew a symbol of a speaker, symbolizing what I dream of in terms of our youth. I really wish that our youth can utilize the voice that they have and utilize the platforms that are available for them to speak out, but speak out and be heard. So that's why I have a symbol of a speaker. I also have a smiley face, and underneath that, I wrote money, because I'm hoping for our economy to just pick up. We really need to move maybe from a developing country to a developed country, and that would really mean that we have funds to do so. I also drew a symbol of a light bulb because of the light that we're hoping for, especially in terms of our mindset. We're hoping for people that are more positive, people that are solution driven. We're hoping for change agents. So if people can focus more on the light and not really the darkness, which maybe would have to do with the things that are going wrong in the country, but rather focus on what it is that you can do right, to move into the right direction and what we wish for ourselves. I also drew a symbol of a candle because I believe that we can't do it alone. We need to light this other candle to light the other candle, and then we can have a brighter South Africa. And that would mean people are voting. Hey, if we come in numbers and we vote and we make informed decisions to actually bring about change in our country, then maybe we can have issues of crime, of drug abuse, and other problems that we complain about. We can actually contribute towards changing all those kind of problems that we're having. So I have many other things here, but I'm just going to leave it here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lethiwe. Thuto, sorry, please take us away.
Hi everyone, and hi to the audience at home. I think mine, I'm not, Craig was saying that he's the baddest, but it seems like I'm the one because of my drawing. Yeah, so I think also just to explain what my drawing or what I see as an ideal South Africa is a South Africa where democracy is not only something that we celebrate on public holidays or during times where it's Youth Month or anything like that. It is something that people, particularly young people, actually live in their daily lives. Where young people or a young person actually can simply just be proud of where they come from, what they do, and the South Africa that they are in. Sorry for that. In my drawing, I drew a young person. I'm not sure if whether you can see, who's holding a placard or some sort of a paper which is written Constitution is equals to democracy, where it simply speaks to say that the reflection of the Constitution into the lives of young people, into the lives of the South Africans who are actually in this country, to be proud of their own democracy. And this person is smiling because of they're actually proud of who they are, or what the Constitution actually means to them. And this also speaks to many young people experiencing the effects of the Constitution. Also, I drew here a school where young children are playing, which represents a safe community, quality education, access to quality education. And also I drew here a government institution where basically we find that our ideal South Africa is a South Africa that has a government that is held accountable, a government that actually addresses the issues of young people. And also I drew another type of a building where it represents actually the jobs that we need in this country. An ideal South Africa, I think it's a working South Africa, an active South Africa, where actually everyone has an equal opportunity to actually make meaningful impact in the country. And I drew this, if you can check here, it seems as if young people are actually entering into these spaces that they've always been excluded in. And this actually speaks to the experiences that democracy is supposed to actually uphold. When we find that young people are actually employed, people can be in safe communities and also feel safe in those communities. And I am saying this because of, I think democracy should be something that is felt by the lives of those who actually are in it. And that actually speaks to how it reflects basically a growing institution or a growing country. And a democracy that cannot be felt by its people uh, eventually becomes very difficult to actually believe in. And I think in making sure that we have an ideal democracy or an ideal future, it is actually taking the constitutional promise into lived realities of many people, particularly the young people of this country, because of we're not the future of tomorrow or the future of today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thuto. Thank you so much. It seems we have lost Lesego again. I'm not sure if she is in the room. Lesego, if you can hear us, you can unmute yourself and let us know how your icebreaker went.
I am here now. I'm very apologetic about my background noise. But good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for having me join this session. I'm really looking forward to the engagement. But for my icebreaker, I drew a little, I don't know if you guys can see this. Oh no, because now my background is blurred, but it's a book. It's a book, and in the book, there's a few words that I put there. On the one side of the book, it has spectator, observer, seat filler, and it has crosses on them. And then on the other side, it has young people, democracy, community action, entrepreneurship, dignity. And the title is Authors and Co-Authors. And I think when I think about the question, I'm thinking, when I think about young people in our constitutional democracy, young people should be authors and co-authors of their stories and also the story of South Africa. They shouldn't just be spectators, they shouldn't just be seat fillers, they shouldn't just be observers, but they should be the ones who are the authors and the co-authors. They should be the ones where basically, as the next chapters are written, you're not writing about them, but they of the book. And I think, when I thought about the question, that's in that solutions. of decision making and policy making.
Thank you so
And
much,
let it be
Lesego.
their actual sources. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. No, we're crossing fingers that the network behaves, because it seems you're going to give us real gems in this conversation. And I think what we've seen and a youthful takeaway from the icebreaker is that we need to thrive, but we also need to engage. We also need to really be co-creators and co-authors of the next chapter of the democracy that we want to see. And I think it lends us really nicely into the gist of today, going straight into our dialogue. But before we start, a few house rules to the audience. Please do feel free to note down any questions that you might have in the chat box. Our moderators will get to them and we will answer them via our panel during our question and answer session. If you would prefer to ask your question in person, please do wait until the question and answer session and do raise your hand, and then our moderators will also point us to you. Same with our panel. We don't really want this to be a question and answer, but more of a conversation, a dialogue. So please also do feel free to raise your hand if someone says something thought-provoking before we move on to the next question. The aim is for us to engage as much as possible and also to leave with a lot of actionable items that young people can do. Okay, without further ado, let's get straight into it. And I think the first question really centers around the Constitution and democracy. And it really is, what do the values of the South African Constitution mean for young people today in their everyday lives and in their communities? So looking at the Constitution and looking at the realities of young people, how do we then form that correlation or that relationship that allows us to really trust in the Constitution that we have? I think we can start with our constitutional literary master, Irfaan, to really give us the basis, and then we can all just join in from there. Irfaan?
Sure, thank you. I wouldn't call myself a master. I'm like all of us in this room, continuously learning. And thanks for that question. For me, the value to teach this constitution and primarily its values is to do so knowing that it's not a legal document. In as much as yes, it is, it's a living promise. It's a promise to ourselves as a society of what do we want to build. And for me personally, dignity is front and center to that. Is too many people have had their dignity stripped from them, and we need to reestablish what dignity means using the Constitution to uphold that very basic tenet of humanness, is respect for each other. Outside of that, equality, the ability for us to be understand that the playing fields have to be leveled. We have to be treated fairly. We have to make sure that there's enough redress to achieve an inequitable society. Freedom, I think I would attribute freedom to being able to speak, to be able to learn, to dream in a manner that allows one to do so that doesn't infringe on other people's rights. So recognizing the past we come from, but also that this freedom is not free. It requires nurturing consistently. There are many others that I think the Constitution speaks of from a values perspective, social justice, the rule of law, etc. But I think what is important for us today is to recognize that values on paper need to be lived. And therefore, it requires us to actually delve deeper as individuals who belong to the society on whether we live up to those values or not. And if we aspiring towards those values becoming real in our various policy choices and our various structures of society, then it starts with us. It starts with imbibing that into who we are and what we do. And so I think young people has had a disconnect with the Constitution. There are a lot more young people who believe that the Constitution might protect rights, but believe that it protects other people's rights more than their own. And this is a deeper problem that we have to solve, in that the values perhaps is disconnected. Perhaps not that. I wouldn't say the values are disconnected, but I will say that the experience of the Constitution is disconnected.
Mm. Mm. Thuto, just to bring you into the conversation, Irfaan mentions that the values really have to match the lived experience. As someone who is active in the university space and in the policy space, is this something that is still possible, or is there still a lot of groundwork that needs to go into it?
Thank you for that question. I believe that there is still a lot of work that needs to be done because of in these spaces that we're in. As a student leader, I've seen a lot of young, talented uh, people actually struggling to actually continue their studies because of financial barriers or maybe the access to actually education. Also, being a teacher in training, also the Constitution also recognizes the right to education and to basic education. And you find that when you go into schools, when I'm doing my teaching experience or anything like that, I tend to find that that particular right to education is not fully visible on the ground because of you find that there is overcrowding, there is a lack of resources and all of those things, which actually hinders or actually stops that particular right for it to be fully exercised. And I think there is a lot of work that we need to do because of students and young people particularly still face inequalities, still face unemployment, still face many barriers, which actually leads to them not being able to fully participate when it comes to democracy because of they feel disconnected from the whole entire they feel disconnected from it democracy as a whole because of what does it mean for me to actually go and practice or live the democratic values, whereas the democracy that is enshrined in our constitution actually does not reflect the lived realities on the ground. You understand? And I think there is a lot of work that we need to do into making sure that we actually attain and make sure that young people actually have a voice when it comes or experience that particular democracy in their lives.
Mm, mm. I think, Lethiwe, let me bring you in as someone who is constantly in the classroom with other young people. What, with the lived experience, do you think it is just mostly an institutional letdown, or do also young people have a role in making sure that those rights are protected, that are granted by the Constitution? Sorry, Lethiwe, you are muted.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that question, Samge. You know, at some point we spoke about the system because when we usually talk about the rights that the learners have, democracy and the policies, everything that we're implementing on the ground, when we find that it's somehow not fair, especially on the teachers and how maybe the learners are abusing the rights that they're having. And then it goes back to the system and we say, the system this, the system that. And then one question at some point was, who is the system? And I think that is where we need to focus on the main person behind all these rights, all these laws, all these policies that are sometimes not fair, especially on the teachers. Because I mean, learners are abusing these rights. Yes, they do have rights, and we want them to have a voice. We want them to have these rights. But the implementation and the fact that maybe teachers do not have a say, and then it comes to a question of are teachers in the room when these rights are drafted, when everything is finalized? Do we include teachers to actually say, is this implementable? Is this fair? Is it just? Is it working at some point? Because we need to go back and check if really now is it working in these schools, because a lot of things are going wrong. A lot of things are going wrong, and the learners know that things are not right. But now the matter of the system is just always on a standstill because I don't know if we can't bring forth this person who is behind the system, but at this point, it's not working.
Mm, mm. And I think Lethiwe makes a very important mention when she says that we also have a responsibility. And then, like young people, we grew up learning that your rights also have responsibilities and you need to take care of that responsibility. And I think, Lesego, to bring you in, when it comes to civic identity, how do we help young people understand that participation and leadership begins long before you are eligible to register, or before you are eligible to vote, or even before you find yourself where you need to be an active citizen, or in a position of where you are now in an advocacy space? How do we propel young people to be more participatory in their civic identity before the actual need arises?
Oh, okay, there we go. Sorry, I think it, yeah. Thank you so much, Samke, for the question, and a very important question as well. And I think one thing that I am seeing, and I think we can all attest to it in our different industries, is that participation is something that you can't just teach it, like it needs to be experienced. So I think all of us in our different sectors and the different organizations that we work with, whether it's, we the people, Thuto as well, wherever, the spaces that he finds himself, to really participate and to really activate leadership, you really need to be participating. I can't teach you, about leadership, or I can, the theory part of it, but there needs to be a practice that is linked to that. And part of it is also like, the participation, and being able to say, what opportunities are we creating where we can actually bring young people into spaces and, they actually are participating, we are allowing them to lead spaces. I think I always say this, whether it's a live or, a dialogue or whatever, and I say, we speak about young people, but, do we have enough young people in spaces? And we're not just consulting them, but actually we are hearing their voices, and we are hearing their opinions. And a part of it is also, and I think I love how Engage does it in their sessions, in redefining leadership. In that when it comes to leadership, we think often it's someone in high authority, someone with a position of power. But leadership is on our day-to-day, basis, whether you're in school, young kids as well in primary school, when you're given a role and you say that you're leading the line, that is leadership, and we need to praise that, and we need to actually recognize it and call it leadership. And actually start speaking that actually leadership is on our day-to-day basis. It's in our everyday tasks. Whether you are a community member, young person, a volunteer, in a managerial position, there is so much that goes on when it comes to leadership, and it's not just how we know it as, it's defined as a person in a position of power, and they are saying, you do this, you do that, you do this, you do that, but how do we redefine it? And also, how do we redefine it in such a way that it actually makes sense in our communities, and we are speaking the languages within our communities? Because it's great to speak jargon, and, and to speak at this high level, but the people we need to, speak to, the people we are encouraging to actually exercise their democratic rights and responsibilities. These are everyday people who are not going to understand everyday jargon. So how do we actually redefine leadership for them to see it on a daily basis? A young person who's waking up early in the morning and is deciding that, what, they're going to become an entrepreneur and go sell amagwinya or scones. That is a leader, but are we calling them that? So I think, yeah, it's a two-way thing of when it comes to participation and leadership, it can't just be taught. We need to be able to create opportunities and spaces where it can really be truly lived out, and it can be really experienced, and allowing, for young people also to make mistakes, and redirect them without actually, putting them in a box and say, well, if you do this, then you failed. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Lesego. And I think to bring you in, Craig, Lesego mentions a redefinition of what leadership is and how we see leadership. And I think a lot of us see leadership in a very traditional sense of one person with the authority, with the power, and the rest of us as followers. But in terms of the rapid world that we are living in, 2026 in modern day South Africa, is the redefinition of leadership as important, or is it a separate entity from civic identity?
Thanks, Samke, and I'm glad that Lesego used that phrase, the redefinition or redefining leadership. Before I get to that, just very quickly, you spoke about civic identity now. Earlier on, Irfaan spoke about human dignity. And I think I would be remiss if I didn't first offer my sympathies to our brothers and sisters from other African countries who are currently being targeted with violence. only because they are identified and defined as foreigners.
Mm.
We cannot talk about or recognize or respect civic identity until we recognize human identity. The one precedes the other. It serves as a foundation. And I think when we talk about defining leadership, it's important that we recognize the dictionary definition. Then we have to ask, well, how is leadership defined across society today? And if we're unhappy, and when I say defined, I don't just mean in theory, but also in practice. How do we see it playing out or exercised? If we're unhappy with the theory and or the practice, we then have to ask, okay, do we want to redefine it? And if so, how? But we can't take that step until we've recognized history. How is leadership defined historically? How is it defined today? How would we like to define and practice not history, but leadership tomorrow? And I spoke earlier on about the family institution or the family unit. Second to that, or after that, another incredibly important institution in our country, in any country, is the school. And when I think about defining leadership, throughout my school years, I no doubt, undoubtedly was exposed to leadership experiences. I saw leadership, I exercised leadership. But it wasn't up until, and I'm going to give my age away here, matric, what is today called grade 12, that I was exposed to a leadership development program for the first time. So that then was an opportunity, and even at that age, I'm not convinced that I grappled seriously enough with the meaning of leadership. But my point is, it was only later on in school that I was given an opportunity to grapple with this idea, to be confronted with the notion of leadership, and with that to then ask, well, how should I as a person be exercising leadership in this particular context? The same applies to this idea of civic education. There's a link between that and civic identity. I, for the first time, was exposed to the notion of civic education, I think, if I remember correctly, while serving as a politics lecturer in higher education. It's almost embarrassing for me to admit that. But it's not only my responsibility. I think my context, the society or communities in which I grew up in also have to bear some of the burden there. I wasn't exposed to civic education throughout my schooling days. In fact, by the time I first had an opportunity to vote as a student at university, I still didn't know what civic education was. And when I voted, the primary thing that guided me was, well, who do I think my parents are going to vote for? And by that stage, I'd already started studying politics at a higher education, at a university. So my point, I think something to highlight here is simply how do we define things? And perhaps more with a view or a perspective on South Africa's youth. How do they define leadership? How do they define civic education? More importantly, have they ever been exposed to civic education? Because I'm not convinced that this is happening broadly enough or seriously enough in our country. And I think it's within the scope of civic education that there's also an opportunity for youth to discuss leadership, how we define it, how it's practiced today, and how we ought to practice it if we're unhappy with the status quo.
Thank you so much, Craig. And I think you make really valuable mentions when you do mention the importance of civic education and how widely that happens. And we tend to see it in a specific type of community for a certain type of learner with a certain type of privilege, but it's not really widespread around the country. But I think building on that, to bring you in, Buhle, a lot of young people feel disconnected from democracy. And when we mention things like civic education, even civic leadership platforms, how do we then rebuild that trust and participation? Because if we say, here's a program, let's do it, it really brings you into the civic identity or education that you need to define your own civic identity. When young people are so disconnected from democracy, how do we then rebuild that participation and trust to say that this entirely is for you and not necessarily for people around you? As time goes, can be for people around you, but how do we then build that initial connection?
Thanks for that. I think we sometimes misunderstand the nature of this disconnection. I don't necessarily believe that many young people are disconnected because they don't care. In fact, many young people care deeply about what happens in this country, in our communities. They care about social issues like unemployment, safety, education, etc. The real challenge is that many do not see a clear connection between their participation and meaningful change. Young people are constantly told that they are the future, but many are struggling to find their place in the present. When your concerns are acknowledged but not acted upon, when participation feels symbolic rather than meaningful, then that's when trust begins to erode. To rebuild the trust, we then need to move beyond just consultations towards real, genuine inclusion. Young people do not become citizens when they turn 18. That's not how it happens. You become a citizen the moment you are born. If we truly believe that young people should not only then young people should not only be consulted about decisions that affect them, they should have opportunities to shape those decisions. Trust grows when people feel seen. So trust will grow when young people feel seen and heard. But most importantly, it grows when they can see the impacts of their participation. Active citizenship and democracy really becomes meaningful when you can point at something and be like, I helped shape that, and my reality really shows that I'm living in a true democracy.
Thank you so much, Buhle. Thuto, is it really true? If we are participatory, do we then find the meaningful in this? And really, what is the difference for someone who doesn't know the difference between symbolic citizenship or symbolic inclusion versus meaningful inclusion? How would you break that down?
Hey, that's a very tough one, but yeah, I think one thing that we tend to hear from people is that, particularly, I'll say old people, I'm a 1K, when you get into these spaces, is that young people are actually, they tend to say that young people are disengaged because of they lack agency, you understand? And of which I like to actually challenge that particular narrative, because of young people do not actually lack agency. They are just often denied their practice to actually practice that particular agency. And we see this when young people actually get into spaces where they're supposed to be making impact and they feel excluded. They are just consulted, as one of the panelists was saying. We tend to be used as a consultancy firm or something like that, sorry to say, but we tend to be consulted during times when it's youth month, when it's elections and all of those things. And I think that is what makes young people actually be disengaged. But I'll tell you one thing, that young people actually do care about what is happening around. Young people actually are taking spaces. You see them, they organize themselves, they actually care about innovation, they start businesses, they do all of these things into trying to make sure that they actually become good citizens and they practice their own citizenry. And I think also one thing we must understand is that young people in these spaces that they actually are in, they feel disconnected because in the very same spaces we're used to this thing of when you want to be, I'll speak on a side of leadership and what where you find that young people, when you want to actually take up a space here at Wits, when you want to take up a space at Wits of leadership and all of those things, you tend to be, you must be deployed or recognized in a certain way. And it's very wrong, that particular thing, because of young people actually are in these spaces trying to make a name for themselves, trying to survive and all of those things. And I think one thing that you must actually understand is that it is very difficult to ask a young person to trust an institution when they feel like they are invisible, like it is invisible to them. It's hard for them to actually try to recognize those institutions and support that particular agency that is being spoken about. And I think going forward, we need to make sure that young people are not symbolically included in these particular things, but they actually participate meaningfully, and they're giving the space and the power to actually make meaningful change.
That's very important. And I think Lethiwe, as a young person who leads other young people in a space, the meaningful engagement, how can we see it through young people, through the community initiatives that they build, or through the willingness that they want to really see themselves in a better space? Is the willingness there, or is it still a far-fetched idea?
Thank you, Samreli. So, the willingness is there. The willingness is there. If there's something about AMA1K, they really want to participate. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. And give them a chance. You will see that. These mini dialogues that you would have in my institution, you would really see that they are hungry for this. And should you give them a platform, they would show you flames, you know. It's something that they are really hungry for. And I think it would make such a difference if we would give them the platform, if you would mentor them, if we would show them that they matter, you know, because at this point they feel like they are just existing. It hurt me to hear this from them last year when they said, even their parents, they don't know how to parent them. And they told me that whatever that was working for us back in the 90s is not working for them. And I felt that we really need to include them, even when it comes to matters that we think we know better in, because we've been here for quite some time. For example, how to raise them, because we would feel, oh, this is how my parent raised me. And then I would maybe use the same strategy on my child. Even in these initiatives that we have, you know, should we give them a voice, we really can pick up that they are willing to be part of the solution. It's just the platforms that they need. And we've seen that one of my students is mentoring the other participants for 2026 in the Science Expo for young scientists. And is doing an amazing job. And I just never saw it coming, you know, and I thought, what if I did not allow other participants to participate in the Science Expo for 2026? What if I did not give them an opportunity? I wouldn't have known that I have such a great leader here, and these learners are doing well, you know. With the My Voice program, the initiative, remembering how they were before the initiative and how they are now, it's just amazing. They are really willing, they want to be seen, they want to be heard, and if only they can be given a platform, then we would be really cultivating true leadership and civic contributors.
And that's very important. I've forgotten the word. It's at the tip of my tongue, but it's not camping. The boundaries that are there, the gatekeepers that really stop young people from showing their full potential. And you mentioned something very important. What worked for, people that were born in the 90s and parented in the 90s wouldn't work in terms of young people and their needs, even from a family structure, like Craig had mentioned, in modern day South Africa in 2026. And I think if we can liken that example with the local government elections in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, versus the local government elections now in 2026, how can young people even begin by participating in voting, even though they are not yet ready or even eligible to vote? So apart from registering to vote, which is also a very big step, what else can young people do to participate in democracy that is outside of the ballot now that they're still not allowed to vote? I think, Irfaan, let's bring you in.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Samke, and thanks to all the contributions so far. I think they're all quite interrelated. How do young people participate beyond the ballot box and also at the ballot box so that we don't exclude that? I think participation already has started in many forms. Engage.SA is another clear example of how participation can look when young people are organized, because whether you're at your school, at your church group, at your mosque, synagogue, or just in your community at the spaza shop, just chilling with your bras, engage in forms of organizing that allow you to tackle an issue. if there's dumping in your area and you and your friends who walk past there every day feel there's a problem, it smells bad, I'm getting sick, that's an opportunity for you to actually apply democratic participation, get your buddies together, get your the community who lives there together and say, no, we actually can start a petition. We can go and ask our councillor to come and watch what's happening here and respond to us, because that's a form of holding a publicly elected official accountable. Second to that, we and Lesego, I say we, and Samke was also part of the Kathrada program, which has grown to many communities in the province, have done programs where young people are tackling drugs or alcohol abuse, programs where youth are engaged in forms of policy work. Some of the organizations here are leading in that. Youth Capital, I know, has championed the issues of unemployment from a policy perspective. And so your ability to add and contribute to policies helps shape how your final legislation at parliament or even at local, at council level is possible. And I want to make a distinction here, because I know we spoke broadly about the constitution. We must also recognize that there's a difference between a right and legislation. The right is afforded to all of us. We are inherently deserving of rights like the right to, health, the right to a safe environment, the right to water and food. Now, these are important distinctions from legislation that must be enacted to make those rights real. So that's the important lesson also in the constitutional literacy work, is that we don't want to confuse the two. Rights are afforded to all of us. How those rights are afforded and made accessible is the work of our parliamentarians, legislators, etc. The last thing I want to add is you can already register from the age of 16. If you're under 16 and you feel like you still want to participate, you actually can become a pressure group. As kids, you can influence your parents on your futures, because if you are thinking about a future that is clean and the environment, and you're concerned about climate justice, that that future is becoming more and more bleak because of the kind of pollution that is happening. You can demand of your own parents, hold them accountable to say, you can't be voting for people who are destroying the environment. I want you as my parents or guardians to help me protect my future. And so there's always an avenue to apply pressure. There's always an avenue for you to actually get involved in democratic institutions. The various departments, legislators, as well as councils have public processes that they are mandated to by the Constitution to actually go out and engage the public. And that was a hard-fought right. That was a hard-fought one right that people who had experienced apartheid said, we don't want to also let our governance be determined for us, without us. And so therefore, they had to legislate the fact that public participation is enshrined for everyone to be carried out. Unfortunately, the mechanisms to which they are doing it, whether it's City of Joburg or Gauteng legislature, etc., have not met the people where they need to meet them. And that's how you end up with scenarios where you have a register with people who have attended, but you don't have meaningful participation. And that's where we as young people can also push to make sure that we're tired of that process. We want the process to change. We want the system to change. I can go on, Samke, but let me stop there. And thank you guys for listening.
No, thank you, thank you. And I think what you're saying is very important. I remember I once had a conversation and I said that youth representation doesn't matter if it's not meaningful. And I think that's the conversation that we've been having a lot today, is that we need to remove ourselves from more symbolic representation to more meaningful representation. And I think Lesego, Irfaan makes a very important note when he says that community engagement really starts small and it starts at any age. For you, which matters most, engagement or youth representation in the ballot and at the ballot boxes, or youth representation in the community?
Right. Also, thank you, Samke. Very difficult question. I don't think I can choose either or, because they both go hand in hand. And the reason I say that, and I think it also goes to what we've been discussing now, and what Lethiwe and Irfaan and even Thuto has shared, in that a part of also that access or where the disconnect happens is if you don't see yourself in your leaders. And this happens both in the ballots and the ballot boxes, but also within our communities as well. In that, can we see the representation? Representation is needed in both situations. Yeah, you're right. It's definitely both. Yeah, it's definitely both. You can't choose. So representation is definitely needed within. I will also say that is that, especially when it comes to young people and having youth representation within the ballot, these are the same young people I would encourage that they need to be going back into their communities. One thing I've always said, and I think Thuto, I've probably drilled this in his head since he was in grade 8. And I've said it to him in that when you open a door, you can't close it. You need to leave it open for another young person. And it so works also with representation within the communities as well, is that often what we're seeing is that people will get in these positions of power and then close the door. They close the windows and it's a house that is just standing still. And we need to be able to challenge that. And this is also where the youth representation and the ballots come in, that are you actually challenging and are you keeping leaders accountable? And as young people as well, are we keeping ourselves accountable, right? Because it's great to talk, but on the ground, actually, what are we doing? And also, I wanted to mention something also that maybe also brings it in that when we speak about democracy as well and active participation, um, it's not like a singular thing. It's not a building that we must walk to. It needs to be completely dismantled, broken down. There's so many facets in it. It's multifaceted. One thing might be relevant in one community, another might not be. And I think I'm very privileged in that I work in communities that are in Gauteng, in Soweto and Garambua, and then I get to work in communities, in Cape Flats, Mitchells Plain, Athlone, and the needs are very different. Representation that is needed is very, very, very different, right? And this speaks to how does our democracy work for us, in that it's not a building that you just walk to. It can't just go. We don't go to it. It needs to come down to it. We need to break it down. And the same is in the question that you're asking when it comes to representation, both in communities and also, within the ballot as well, is that both is very much needed. We need young people. We need young people, from different backgrounds, young people who also are living with disability as well, to really be there as well, and for other young people to see themselves in them. And I think that also speaks to, that's also how trust is rebuilt as well, in that the people that you're looking at, if they look like you, you can relate. There's reliability and also that element as well of accountability. But basically, to answer your question in a very simple way, you can't pick. Both is very important, both is needed, both is very much relevant, and both should be encouraged.
And I think that's the best way to set it off, Lesego. Youth representation in the ballot, at the ballot box, in the community is important. And I think in this weekend, we get to see how many young people are really hungry and roaring to go make their decisions. And I think we will be doing a lot of our audience and ourselves a huge disservice if we let this dialogue end without making note that this weekend is voter registration weekend. We're going to have a short tutorial right now that's going to show on your screens on how you can do it. It is quite simple. It is quite easy. Please go out in your numbers to register. Remember what Irfaan mentioned. It doesn't have to start at the ballot. It could start at 12 years old. It could start at 10. It really is simple. And we have a simple 3-step tutorial. Firstly, you need to have your ID document. You do have to be a South African resident. So having your identity document, either your green barcoded book that we all love and appreciate, or your smart ID card, or a valid temporary ID certificate. And then you can also choose to either register online or find your voting station. And to find your voting station, please visit the IEC website. This is very important in terms of any ward changes by the Municipal Demarcation Board, it is very important to know where your voting station is and how it is scheduled via your ward. So if there's a better time to go look for your ward number, it is today, right before election weekend starts. And to register, you can make an appointment at a local IEC office, or you can register online at registertovote.elections.org.za. Very important, but because it is election registration weekend, you can also go to your nearest voting station today. There will be IEC officials there ready to help you register to vote. Please also check if you have moved, if you need to re-register. It is very important to note that you cannot register or cannot vote in the same place if you are not longer living there. And it's very important for local government because this is the sphere of government that is very close to us. Remember, you can register from the age of 16, and even if you are not yet old enough, you can also register. And registering meaning that you are ready to participate once you are turned 18. Thank you, Irfaan. Home Affairs is also open, so they're also issuing out a lot of temporary IDs, a lot of documents that you need to make sure that you have everything you need to register to vote. So please do the needful before we get onto our weekend plans. Make sure that you pass by the website or you pass by your voting stations. I promise it doesn't take more than 5 minutes. And if it does, you can come fetch your R1 from me. It's fine. Okay, and that is our dialogue. And I think before we close it off, it's very important to hear from our audience. We have been receiving a bit of questions from the chat and also from our short form. I will start with the question here on Zoom. There's 2 questions from Growth Themes. I hope I'm saying it well. And the first question is, how do we prepare young people for civic responsibility when basic needs are not met? And the second question is, how do we redefine leadership for the average young South African to understand what it means for them to be able to participate in shaping our democracy? I think anyone can take the question from our speakers, and then we'll just have 2 speakers on one question and then 2 speakers on the other question. Alrighty, Craig, you can go first.
Thanks, Samke. I'm itching to answer both questions, but perhaps let me speak to the second one. My hope would be that as human beings, we can agree on a fixed definition of leadership. And by fixed, let me rephrase that, a fixed definition of virtuous leadership. As John Maxwell says, leadership is influence, nothing more, nothing less. So we need to recognize, for example, that historical figures like Adolf Hitler, Idi Amin were leaders, but clearly lacking in virtue. So we need to arrive at a transcendent definition or understanding of leadership. For any democracy or professing democracy to function, there needs to be a critical mass of citizens that know that definition, live according to it, and are able to identify it when they make decisions about who to support when it comes to political leadership. Now, without unpacking the concept too much, I would hope we would agree in this for now that the best way of defining that in a short amount of time is simply to say that virtuous leadership, the kind of leadership that supports democracy and development that is done democratically, is leadership that aims to protect and advance human dignity. In a nutshell. And I think if we can start our definition at that point, we're likely to follow a good trajectory.
Thank you so much, Craig. Anyone else who would like to tackle the first question? I'll read it out again. How do we prepare young people for civic responsibility when basic needs are not met? Yes, Buhle.
That's a very difficult question. As somebody who receives this question quite often in the work that we do, I think we need to be really careful not to treat civic responsibility and basic needs as separate or competing issues. Because reality is that many young people are already exercising civic responsibility while also navigating these incredibly difficult circumstances. Across the country, young people are caring for younger siblings, they're supporting their families, they're volunteering, they're helping neighbors, and really trying their utmost best to find ways to contribute despite these very difficult circumstances. So I would think about the question not being whether young people can be civically responsible when their basic needs aren't met, because we know that they are and they can be, but whether our institutions and our democracy are really creating conditions that enable young people to participate fully. Young people start participating long before they cast their first vote, but they're also experiencing those consequences of voting and the ballot box in their everyday lives through the decisions that are made by government, schools, communities, and everyone around them. They're navigating public services, the education system, the transport system. So they already are active citizens. And because they are active citizens, that means that their experiences really matter. So then some of the most powerful forms of civic participation really emerge from lived experiences. Young people who experience these difficult conditions or these difficult social ills around unemployment, poor service delivery, barriers to education, or exclusion often have some of the clearest insights into what really needs to change. So then the challenge for us and for everybody, even young people themselves, is that participation becomes is that it's really much harder when people are in survival mode. If a young person is worried about their next meal, it becomes difficult to attend community meetings, engage in public processes, or advocates for change. But not necessarily because they don't care, but because the burden of meeting basic needs consumes so much of their time and energy and attention. That is why meeting young people's basic needs and strengthening civic participation should then not be viewed as competing priorities because they are deeply connected. Preparing young people for civic responsibility is not only about teaching them about democracy, it's also about creating a society in which they can meaningfully participate. It's about ensuring that they have access to education and that their basic needs are met and they have the support that they need to engage fully in public life, because then civic responsibility only truly grows when you feel like you belong. And that's the case for young people as well.
Thank you so much, Buhle. Thank you so much. And I think it's very important. There's a question here that I'd like to pose to some of the speakers that haven't answered. So Irfaan, Lesego, Lethiwe, and Thuto. The following questions are for you, and you guys can just pick and choose. But this is one question that says, "Good day to the panel. Young people are often told that we are the future, yet many of us are already leading initiatives in our schools, communities, and organizations today. My question is, one, what practical steps should government, businesses, and civil society take to ensure that young people are not only consulted, but are given real decision-making power and accountability in shaping South Africa's future? Second question, and if those structures fail to include us, what advice would you give to young leaders who want to create change anyway?" And the last one being, many young people feel their voices are ignored. How can we ensure that youth participation leads to change and not just consultation? So any one of you can take any questions and we can take it from there.
Can you please repeat the first one? It was a very long one. So.
Yeah. First one says, what practical steps should government, businesses, and civil society take to ensure that young people are not only consulted, but are given real decision-making power and accountability in shaping South Africa's future?
Let me go with that one. No one's going to give you power at all. You want power, you must take power. And in a democracy, that's exactly the fundamental reasoning in which you don't pursue democracy as a by the way. You don't pursue civic activism as a by the way. You pursue it because of the situation and the problems that you confront on a daily. Similar to what Bushla is saying, right? You are faced with hunger. Do you give in to hunger, or do you fight for a hunger-free society? Now, this is the conundrum us as a generation has to solve. We keep waiting for something to happen in order for us to take charge. As 50 years is marked of 1976, they didn't wait for Mandela to come out of prison for them to take to the streets. They didn't wait for someone. They felt so strongly about the situation that they were able to rally each other, and that became a much bigger movement. And I say this on the backdrop that I come from a Fees Must Fall movement. I didn't know about it as I was entering university, and as it erupted, we then conscientized ourselves, and thousands of other students joined and shifted the power dynamic. Now, practical steps for government, yes, we can demand and make policy choices and push for policy choices that say young people must be given a seat at the table, but they'll keep giving us symbolic and very it's like they'll keep using us as nice dressing for events and programs until we decide to take seriously what that power is in our hands. The Constitution gives us power to act and mobilize each other, to organize each other. That's when we'll start realizing that we don't have to be consulted to change. You have to organize, and when you organize, you build power, and that power can be used and leveraged towards other forms of legislative change that you think is required. So I hope that gives you a good sense of where my thinking is about this. We can't keep waiting and asking business and government. Yes, we must engage them. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying don't demand and engage and protest and picket and debate and dialogue. But what I think is going to solve this problem of youth participation and youth representation is recognizing that Amandla Awetu means us owning that power. Thank you.
Thank you, Irfaan. Lesego, you had your hand, and then we'll go to Lethiwe.
Yes, thank you. I think Irfaan actually really captured it very well. But perhaps what I can add as well in that, and especially when it comes to power not being given to us and we need to take it, is that we also need to stop viewing ourselves as just beneficiaries of democracy and our constitution. We need to start becoming active builders of that. And I say that and I challenge everyone, and I say right now there's a call with the constitution to write comments and to give feedback. And oftentimes we see these, I don't know what they call it, but like these calls basically for comments and reviewing, and we're like, oh, they're not going to take in my comments, or they're not going to review what I've said. Imagine now if so many young people have the same thought, or just people in general, that, oh, my thoughts don't actually matter. It means actually we're not becoming active builders. And again, we are being put in a place again where we become beneficiaries again. So my challenge actually would be that as citizens, as young people, we need to stop looking at ourselves as we are just beneficiaries, and that something is constantly always going to be given to us, and that we need to stop becoming active builders of our democracy and our constitution, but also really looking within your own community as well and seeing what is actually not working. And how can you start creating those changes? Also, when it comes to local government, policy changes are not just with higher ups there, with legislation. Yes, it's with legislation, but within our local communities as well, our councillors, when you're attending ward meetings as well, that is a part of the active building when it comes to our democracy and our constitution. So to answer the question, my challenge actually would be that we need to really stop seeing ourselves as beneficiaries and stop becoming active builders, and actually start seeking out opportunities where we can have a say and not assume that our word is not going to be taken, because oftentimes actually we'll find ourselves in a situation where we say, but nobody commented, nobody shared their writings, and nothing can be reviewed. So I'm going to challenge everybody and say, actually, maybe just go Google right now a part of that section in the Constitution that is currently being reviewed, and where they're actually asking for comments to be shared. And that is part of the steps that we start taking.
Mm.
And vote,
Thank
vote, vote, vote with your local governments. Yes.
Definitely vote, vote, and vote. Thank you so much, Lesego. Lethiwe, and then we'll come to you, Thuto. All right.
Samge, I'm not sure if
Yes.
I'm the only one not hearing anything. There was a signal glitch and there was just silence after.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, ma'am. We were waiting for you to unmute, but we can definitely hear you now.
Oh, okay. I just want to add on what the previous speakers have shared, starting with the question that was asking about the practical steps for government, businesses, and civil society. And I remembered what I was watching during the week, where they highlighted that the youth of 1976 did not wait for anybody to come to their schools and say, hey, are you tired of Afrikaans? Are you tired of the Bantu system? How about we do 1, 2, 3? They took the initiative. They met and they decided that we are tired and this is what we're going to do. And they unite. Even the third party couldn't separate them. They couldn't interfere with their plans, and they were able to execute their plan. So if we also, as the youth, can unite and stand together to say, this is what we want, this is what we don't want, and take initiative, starting with the constitution. If we feel that the constitution is not accommodating us, if we feel that the age limit that is put there for our job applications is not being considerate, we need to speak up and say, why are we saying up to 35? Because we have people that are 36 years old and they also need a job. Why are we having elderly people staying in these positions until they are 80 plus? We need to speak up, and we need to use the right platforms so that our voices can get across. If we're going to wait for these businesses, we're going to wait for government, what if they never come? Is the situation going to be like this forever? I feel like we need to find our why and have a strong why to say, this is why we're doing this, and we're really going to do it. Because once you have your why and it's a solid one, you can't go back. You really want to see change. And that can help us move forward, because no one is going to come to save us. And it's about time. The youth of 1976 did their part. It is up to us now to say, we are taking it from here. And in the next 50 years, this is what we want to see. So that we do not speak about the problems that the youth of 1976 were having back then, the problems that we are still having now. And in the next 50 years, we are still talking about what the government needs to do, what the businesses need to do. What are we doing? So if we can start there, and maybe also look into situational leadership, starting with redefining leadership that we've spoken about, but also look at what we can do as leaders where we are. As a teacher, I'm at a school. What is it that I can do? Why can't I partner with the organizations that are available to change the lives of the school community I'm serving, to change the lives in the society, to bring about change, whoever that is benefiting from the change that I will be coming with, but joining hands with the necessary stakeholders. I think it's just up to us to take action and to make sure that we do not step back. And once we've started, we really move forward. I just wanted to start by that. As for the structures that are failing to include the youth, we need to also take initiative there, because some of the youth, as the youth, I want to include myself here, we are so good at complaining. We are so good at complaining about institutions that are not so inclusive, but what are we really doing about that? Because if the structures are failing to include us, why are we not challenging them? I feel like if we can just be solution driven, come together and be really intentional about it, it is all possible. But if you're going to sit in the corridors, if you're going to sit in the taverns and talk about these and not these problems and not do anything, then you're going to be at a still.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lethiwe. Thuto, your take on the questions.
So yeah, the previous speakers said a mouthful, and I actually also ran out of some ideas. But on a practical manner, I think we add to. I think also we're not angry enough as young people. We need to be angry to a point where we actually kick down those doors that we're actually supposed to be inside those buildings. We're supposed to actually kick down those tables and build our own tables into making sure that they serve our own interests as young people, because of the future that we're going to inherit is a future that is not going to be favorable to us if we're not in those particular decision-making bodies. And one thing that we can say as young people, as we are going to local government elections, young people must register there to be councillors. Don't be afraid to go contest those positions. Don't be afraid to go contest those old people who are sitting in those positions and not doing anything. I think that's the most important thing that you're supposed to be doing. And also when it comes to civil societies, I think we must stop, civil societies must also stop speaking for young people. I think they need to actually lead or let young people be the ones that lead these particular campaigns, you understand? And I've seen this actually happening also with Engage.SA. We attended also this particular, there was this also the Constitutionalism Fund, where we found that we're the only young people in that particular room. People were actually older than us, but then we took it upon ourselves to say that we are going to actually participate in this particular thing and not going to shape the conversations that are going to come out of this particular gathering. Young people should not be afraid. Young people should be courageous the way they are when we are doing certain things outside of the civic engagement part. And I'll tell you one thing, if young people are angry enough, they can take over this country and they can make sure that they have policies and institutions that actually are accountable and speak to their issues that they have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Craig. Thank you so much, Thuto. Apologies there. Thank you so much to all of the speakers. Thank you so much. And I think just to close off as Craig bows out, what is in one sentence, my very passionate panelists, what gives you hope about the next generation of young people in South Africa? Just as a final closing, Craig, I'll allow you to go first if you are still here.
I was just about to leave, but yeah, let me take that question. What gives me hope? I know of and I see people, including youth, doing positive things virtually on a daily basis. And I think part of the productivity or beauty of that is that people like me who look on and witness that and see that, we're encouraged. And I think this is the wonder of, if I may use the word love, doing positive things to and for other people has a knock-on effect. It encourages others who witness those acts, no matter how small they may be. So having said that, everyone, please excuse me. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And let's get out there and vote on 4th of November. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Craig. Thank you so much. Lesego, what gives you hope?
Okay, there I go. I think what gives me what gives me hope is young people, and how they challenge the status quo and they're not keeping quiet. That's really what's giving me hope. And also with organizations as well. I think all the organizations that we work for as well might be represent, and being able to move away from our silos and actually saying, you know what, we can work together under one common agenda that is young people, and giving young people you know, power and voices, and actually creating those spaces for them, and not just speaking about it, but actively doing it. That's what really gives me power. I think I could say so much. If I spoke about it quite a lot. But I'm going to leave it there. That what gives me hope simply is just young people. And their
Thank
drive.
you. Thank you so much, Lesego. Lethiwe, what gives you hope?
Thank you, Samge. What actually gives me hope is the courage that I am seeing in the Amatuke, because that is what we call them. They have so much courage. They don't care if you like them, if you don't love them. They're just going to tell it like it is. They're giving me so much hope because I feel like they're going to take up space and shake this country. They are going to shake things up and they're going to take charge. I believe in them so much. If only they knew. I hope they know. They also getting education. They are graduating. They are going for their masters, their PhDs. They are going for everything they deserve. You know, and the platforms that they have, whether it be TikTok, Twitter, which is now X. There are so many platforms and they are taking up space. They are using these platforms to get their voices across. And if they can just elevate from there, I am yet to see amazing things from them. I mean, we are going to have the youngest ministers in the next few years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lethiwe. Buhle, what gives you hope?
What's supposed to have been done? What gives me hope is probably the fact that young people continue to practice active citizenship every day. They continue to show up, often in ways that go unnoticed. They care for others, they solve problems, they build communities, and continue to show us that all they really need is for everybody to make space for them.
Thank you, Buhle. Thuto, what gives you hope?
Yeah, I think what gives me hope is the resilience in young people. Young people are so resilient despite the unemployment, despite the inequality, despite the exclusion. Young people still continue to organize themselves. They still continue to innovate, to care. They continue to actually dream, despite all of that, all of these things that are happening around us. Their resilience is actually quite remarkable. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Thuto. Last but not least, Mr. Mangera, what gives you hope?
You guys, literally all of you. In the darkest of days that I've had in the last few years, when I look up and I switch my phone on and see the ripple effect of what one person like yourself has done to impact on many others, I think it's a testament to the fact that hope is a verb. But my dear comrades and friends, hope is not a strategy on its own. The young people of 1976 showed us that they were able to cross barriers to change history of this country. And we now have to ask ourselves that question. Do we simply inherit the past or do we actively build it? And the hope that I spoke of is you guys executing a strategy to change society, to change people's lives, and to imbibe the Constitution in its full form. So that's what gives me hope.
Thank you so much, Irfaan. And I think just to take it home, I think what gives me hope is that we are constantly moving, constantly working towards a better chapter for ourselves. But also, like Irfaan says, it's a ripple effect. It's when you throw the stone into the dam or a lake and it creates those circles. It's what happens when one person is conscientized in the home. You conscientize your siblings, your parents, their neighbors, and it all grows from there. And it starts from a small seed being planted and knowing how active citizenship really matters and how it describes you as a person and an active citizen in South Africa. Thank you so much to everybody who joined us. Thank you so much to our speakers, but also thank you so much to our audience. We would be sitting here and talking to ourselves, but the amount of questions that were in the chat, that were on our lives on Facebook and Instagram that we couldn't get to, Their speakers' names are here. Craig left some of his links in the chat. Reach out to them. These are young people working towards young solutions. Some of us are young at heart, like Craig, but really let the youth really participate. And this weekend, go out in your numbers, register to vote, recheck your voting stations, but also please don't just end there. Participate on the 4th of November and let us see youth representation in the ballot, at the ballot, and in our communities. Thank you so much to everyone. My name is Samkem Komi. Thank you for my little praises in the chats. I see them. And have a blessed weekend and a blessed youth month going forward. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
That was beautiful.
Alrighty.
You guys are awesome. Oh, you
We
still
went.
we went so much overtime, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I still have to learn on how to cut people and really just what's the word? Pause. But yeah. Let's see.
I just
How
needed
how
to
okay.
stop
How did that
my
go
speaker.
for you? Okay.
One moment. Okay. Yeah, I think it was absolutely great from my side. Um, I think the screen thing is something that we need to reconsider because it takes up all the screen. We don't see the actual guests talking and all of that. I think we should focus on them next time when we do this. Or maybe just, kind of raise our subscription a little bit for a month if we do this again so that we have the webinar
Mm,
yeah, the webinar package. It's much better in terms of accommodating everyone, the screen and the guest as well. But outside of that, it was great. The way that you handled the session, the support, the background support. Kudos to you guys. You guys were absolutely great. So it's a yes from me.
alrighty, Miss Googs, if you're still here.